Good morning, Cape Town.
Lester Kibbet
Starting your day.
on Cape
A
Talk.
story I came across in the People's Post. Imagine driving your car and minding your own business, and then suddenly you see another vehicle, exactly the same make, model, color as yours, but also not only that, it's also the same vehicle down to the license plate. It's what happened recently to a Cape Town driver who was driving his Chevrolet through the streets of Kenilworth, and then discovering the same red Chevrolet also down to the same license plate. He then posted this onto a community WhatsApp group, but it found its way into a Facebook group called Western Cape Stolen and Hijacked Vehicles, where the moderator of the group says actually a very, very common problem. Stan Bezuidenmhout is the director of IBF Investigations, who investigate vehicle-related incidents such as crime scenes. He joins me now on the line. Good morning, Stan. We know that license plate cloning has been an issue for a while now, but an entire car from make, model, color, and license plate, is that becoming more and more common?
Morning, Lester, and morning to your listeners. So, yes, but you'll be surprised to hear that it's not a new trend. I attended a crash scene back in 2002 already, where not only was the car, the license plate, and the license disc cloned, the person driving the car even knew where the car was from and gave us all the information that the car belonged to a local motoring manufacturer. It was only the next day when we contacted the manufacturer and said, listen, your car was involved in a crash last night, and we heard that their car was parked safely in their parking lot. So that guy somehow knew where the car he cloned was from. He knew where the car would be. He knew who it belonged to by name because he said it was his friend's car and everything. The only thing that was different about that car from the original car was the actual VIN number.
And that's the only way you'd actually be able to check if you lift up the hood and you were to be checking the engine number. That's the only way you'd really be able to tell the difference between the legitimate vehicle and the cloned vehicle.
Yes, and the challenge is that while most modern vehicles display their VIN or the vehicle identification number at the bottom left of the windshield on the passenger side of the windshield, many of the older cars and many of the modern cars, like the Toyota Quantum taxis we see so many of, actually you can't see the VIN number until you open the door, open the engine compartment, or as you correctly stated, check the actual engine number.
From what I read from the People's Post article, that this actual red Chevrolet, the clone vehicle, was actually used in some form of criminal activity, and that it actually had been flagged, the license plate, and that the driver of the legitimate vehicle had absolute no clue of what was going on. We do live in a reality where we have LPR, license plate recognition cameras in certain parts of our city. Our cities, law enforcement and highway patrols, they have LPR technologies are fitted into vehicles. So you could actually, if you are a victim of this broad cloning of a vehicle, could be pulled over one day and being asked to answer for some criminal activity you have no knowledge of.
Yeah, just imagine, for instance, if the original, or if for some reason there's confusion and the vehicle is reported as hijacked in a dangerous, or let's call it confrontational way, and local law enforcement comes across your vehicle thinking that you are the one that are involved, and they respond as if there's a threat from you. I mean, it's a threat to your life. But what's really sad is we've even seen law enforcement vehicles cloned this way. South African police flying squad vehicles being used to commit crimes, and even they were clones of original vehicles. So it's a very serious problem, and just reporting on it as our government does, saying we've just recovered a stolen vehicle, in this case, in my mind, is simply not good enough.
Mm. So what's the modus operandi? Do you have the cloned license plate first and then go looking for a vehicle that matches that particular registration, or are criminals finding the vehicles first and then finding a similar vehicle with a different number plate? How are they
Yes,
operating?
it's actually very easy. Let's say I've got a white Golf and I want to clone it. All I have to go is go to any parking lot at any shopping center, look for a similar looking white Golf, walk up to it, photograph the license disc, and that's all I need. Now what I do is I take any vehicle registration document, I edit that on a Photoshop or some kind of editing software, I go to any license plate manufacturing facility. I walk in there, I give them the form and say, please print my license plate. They then print that license plate, they give it to me, and I simply put it on the car and I create myself a fake license disc and Bob's your uncle, as they say. It's very sad that it's that easy. In my mind, the original owner of the vehicle should get a notification every time a number plate is printed,
Mm.
or a this e-toll thing and gantries and cameras all over the highways, etc. Why is it, in my mind, that there are all these various technologies that are capable of monitoring, following, observing, tracking, and viewing your personal data by tracking your number plate, but for some reason you don't even know about it? Why should it not be that nobody is allowed to read your details from your car through any electronic medium unless that medium is capable of informing you immediately?
And the listener saying that he had forgotten he had to take with his documents with to get a new number plate, and the person at the license plate manufacturer says, "Don't worry, I trust you. You seem to have an honest face. It shouldn't be as easy as that." But Stan Bezuidenhouit, really appreciate your time. A very quick question here from a listener: how do you find out or trace the owner of a vehicle if you have the number plate? Asking, how do you have to report, go to the police station, get a case number, and then have the police deal with it, Stan?
Yes. So you might be fully aware, living in the Western Cape, that we had this incident where this police officer, Kinya, was murdered. And as a result of that incident, there's been a huge clampdown on this process of what we call ownership checks. Many law enforcement officers have access to ownership check systems. That's where they go on the computer, they punch in the number plate, and they get back the data of the owner. That is highly protected and highly private information that the general public generally cannot get access to. So what you would have to do is, if you suspect any such crime has been committed, is to go to the South African police to report the crime, and then the detectives in that matter would follow up on that. But the general public, there's no way for you to legally simply find out or who the owner of a particular vehicle is, unless, of course, it's a commercial vehicle with a name and branding on.
Stan Bezuidenhouit, really appreciate your time. Have you had an experience of finding out your number plate has been cloned, or have you been like this Kenilworth driver? Same red Chevrolet, same make, same model, same license plate. Let me know. 0214460567. Zane Johnson.